Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK,
And I'm Courtney.
and Courtney, how are you?
I am hungry. It is 9:30 and I didn't eat yet. So I have some dip that Rachel made. She made some kind of like this supposed to be chicken bacon ranch, but it's got like ham in it and not a lot of chicken. It's tasty. I don't know what it is, but it's very good. So I'm eating that. And I have as a Dr. Pepper girly, have you tried the blackberry one? It's so good, right?
Oh, good. I was like,
It's
that's
so
literally what I'm
good.
drinking right now.
I didn't even notice what you were drinking. Um,
Well,
it's
because
so good.
I was drinking my citrus Panera
Okay. I
drink,
was
and
like, I thought you had a straw.
I did. I was drinking my citrus Panera drink, and then I finished it, so now I'm back to Dr. Pepper.
Nice. So it's so good. I'm very pleased with its existence.
Mhm.
I didn't know if I was going to feel that way, but I am very pleased. And I'm not, I'm not a Dr. Pepper girly. I'm getting more of a Dr. Pepper girly because it's just always in my face,
Yeah.
but I'm more of a Coke girly.
I actually, Chrissy sent me a video the other day and she was like, I need you to try this because she doesn't really drink pop and she doesn't
Mhm.
really drink Dr. Pepper. So she was like, but I want the science, like knowledge. So I need you to do this. And this guy was doing an experiment trying to figure out what the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper are
Mhm. Mhm.
and whatever. And he has determined that Dr. Pepper is 2 parts Coke, 1 part root beer.
So that makes sense. Have you watched how it's made, how food's made in America or something?
No.
So one of the very first episodes is how all like Cokes come about.
Mhm.
And so it starts with root beer because whoever it was not drinking beer, but beer is
Yeah.
the drink.
Right. And
And
so
so
the
it,
23 flavors of Dr. Pepper are based on like whatever the
Mhm.
herbs and seasonings in Coke
Yeah,
and root beer. Like, and like the whole video was like explaining the science of like soda fountains and when Coke came versus root
yeah.
beer versus blah, blah, blah. But so so Chrissy sent it to me and she was like, but she found it on April 1st and she goes, I need
Mhm.
you to try this. And then she goes, I don't even know if I can trust videos on the internet today. And I texted her back and go, this was posted 8 weeks ago. She goes, oh, thank God. So now you have to try it.
Well, can you tell her to go watch the first episode of the show? Does she listen? I
No.
can tell her. Oh,
Okay.
ugh. I was gonna say I'll tell her if she listens, but if she don't listen, I can tell her. You need to tell her to go watch the first episode. And maybe it's the second. I think the first one's about Olive Garden. And it goes from beer to root beer to Coke to Dr. Pepper. And it goes through the process and it's very interesting.
Okay.
Um, Highly recommend.
Okay. Yeah. I have not
Um,
tried the experiment yet to see if 2 parts Coke, 1 part root beer will actually.
I feel like that's not quite right. I get it, but I feel like it's not quite right. Like there's
Yeah.
something else, you know,
Well, it also depends because this guy used A&W root beer, and you remember all root beers do not taste
which
the
is
same.
different. Oh,
All root beers are not created equal.
yeah, let me tell you. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah, so I'm very pleased with this Dr. Pepper though.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been since I'm doing my therapy, obviously it didn't work yesterday, but I'm trying to like follow her rules and try and do stuff that like she's like you have to just like allow yourself to have a break. Like you just have to know that it's okay and like find something that makes you like escape. And I have not been giving myself time off because life is expensive
Yeah.
and I am busy.
Yeah.
Um and so I told you last weekend I played Mythwrecked. I beat it. I beat it last weekend. It is over now. It's super fun. Highly recommend.
Okay.
I think I came home Tuesday and beat it, whatever it was. I talked to you about it. So then I played Botany Manor this weekend, and
Okay.
it's a puzzle game. And it's like a puzzle game where you like grow different plants, which does not sound like me, but I do like puzzles.
Yeah.
And so but like the way it works is like one of the plants you have, this is like one of the early ones, so it's like not a huge spoiler.
Yeah.
One of the first plants, you have to make the right concoction for flash powder in like a little beaker. And
Yeah.
then you have to take it to the like old-timey camera, put the pot in front of it with the seeds that are supposed to be the flash seeds or whatever, they have a name. And then you take a picture and that's how you grow the plant. And you have to do all of the different plants throughout the whole game and then bring them all to the flower room. And so it's very puzzly and it's very like you have to do Morse code at one point. And I did not have a brain. I am the world's biggest proponent of walkthroughs. Like play a game for the joy and to give you like
Oh, yeah.
comfort, especially a cozy game. And as soon as it stops feeling that way, but you like the gameplay, you go look up the walkthrough and you just follow it step by step.
Correct.
And it's still just as
100%.
fun.
Oh yeah, no.
Um,
My dad and I like we used to have the book. Like we back when they sold the walkthroughs as like large books in
I had the
like the
Pokemon
stores.
walkthrough books, yeah.
Oh my God, every Mario, every Zelda, every
Mhm.
Sonic, I had the book for that shit.
Yeah. I only have the Pokemon ones, but
What
I don't know why I didn't have the other ones.
this
I
kid
was
was
poor,
trying to
that's
ask
why.
me if I knew about like some secret thing that happened if you beat a certain thing on a Sonic game, and I go, yeah, because I have the book. What? I go,
I missed those books. Those were my favorite.
my favorite.
So big love Game Achiever, love all of the different gaming sites that'll do the walkthroughs for you still.
Yeah,
So I played through the entire game. It's like a 4 hour game. It's not that long, but
yeah,
it's one that's leaving Game Pass. So I try to go at least attempt to play them, see if I like them
yeah.
before they leave. Which is also why I played Mythwrecked. But yeah, so I've been trying to do more, and my therapist says I need to start telling people no more. I was trying. She also highly insinuated that I should be back on Prozac. I was like, day two. Yeah, you're probably right. So she was telling me, she was like, you can say no. And I realized now as my response was, yeah, I didn't go to dinner at Rachel's this one night because I was just working really hard and I just turned it down because I knew I needed to say no. Not every other night of the week, just the one.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do have to get better at rationing my time and like actually taking time for myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
which
and
I'm not
like
good at.
no, you're not good at it and you moved home and
Yeah.
you're happy and you've been away for a while and you're happy to like be back with people that you
Yeah.
like love and want to spend time with. But you do things with them every single night that you're not working
I
till
know.
middle of the night to do things to make money.
Yeah.
And so like just
So
don't.
Friday I did have to because I switched as we talked about I switched my days around last week so I had to go in the office on Friday and I just turned everything off. If anybody's listening to this that like lives over here, I'm sorry I've lied to all of you. I turned on my Xbox and turned off my like you couldn't see that I was online and everyone that texted me the day I was like I'm going to bed right now. I was like I'm going to take a nap. I'm done
Yeah.
for now. I'll let you know
Yeah.
if I wake back up. I didn't sleep. I never sleep. When is that what I do?
No.
But I did completely turn everyone off and turn everything off and just played my Xbox Friday night and didn't talk
Good.
to anyone because I knew Saturday was going to be insane. So I had
Yeah.
a baby shower and food prep and then
Yeah.
charcuterie. And then Sunday we went to Meemaw. So I knew I was going to be doing like, I had to work that morning and do reports that night. So like I knew that like Saturday and Sunday were going to be stacked.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Friday's the night.
Yeah.
Friday's my day. And I did it. So I was very proud of myself. And my therapist is going to be proud of me because I'm real convinced I'm going to win therapy. I'm that person. If you didn't know, I'm that person. Um, which is not how you play therapy. That is not how
No.
it works.
Therapy's not a game.
I know that's not how it works. But I just have this like insane completionist and like,
Yeah.
this is your task. You did your task. Good job.
Yeah.
Um, so but she did tell me I could blame her. She was like, just tell everyone if you like really can't go to something or really don't want to go. Even if you want to go to something, but you know you shouldn't, just tell them your therapist said you can't go. And I was like, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So, um, so that's me. That's how I'm doing.
Great.
How are you?
You know, I I almost wish that I hadn't gotten back into reading
Yeah, it
because
happens sometimes.
here's the thing. I used to read all the time and then like I didn't and life got crazy and then it took me 4 years, 5 years to finish a single book, like whatever. And then I discovered the world of romantasy and fantasy novels and I realized that like I do love reading and I love the escapism.
Mhm.
I was trying to read like books that would make me smarter and let's be honest, I don't need that in my life.
That is not what we're here for.
No. However, and I know you have not read them yet, so I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But this weekend,
Because you know I'd come through this computer.
yeah, this weekend I
Uh-huh.
finished the tandem read of Empire of Storm and
Mm-hmm.
Tower of Dawn.
Good job.
And I genuinely think that that's why I needed to go home from work today. Like, I am not okay. And apparently, the last book is worse.
So maybe you finish the last book like Thursday night or Friday night so that you can work and then recover.
Yeah, I'm like, but spring break is next week. So like
Oh yeah. So read
I
it for
will
next week. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm like I'm not doing well emotionally. I literally was like texting Kate and Amy sobbing yesterday. I was like, I don't know how to do this. And the worst was Mo texted me and was like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, I just started Throne of Glass." And I go, "I'm so sorry that I made you do this. I'm so sorry that I brought you into this world."
That's so funny.
Um, yeah, but the things that I have been doing to try to feel better and be happy is Dan and I really love like British quiz shows. We love a good British quiz show, and
Mhm.
we love 8 out of 10 cats does
I keep
countdown.
hearing about this show. I've never watched it, but I keep
So
hearing about
so
it.
countdown is a puzzle game that like in Britain where they have like word and number puzzles, but an 8 out of 10
No,
cats,
that one. That's the
yeah,
one I
eight
keep
out of
hearing
ten
about.
cats is a bunch of comedians acting like fools. So
I do love a comedian.
so 8 out of 10 cats does countdown is these comedians doing this actual like intelligent puzzle game. And so it's so great. And like most of the comedians have then been on Taskmaster. Like Dan and I know who all these comedians are. Like we
Mhm.
love it. So we watch the show and we like play along with them and we try to do the puzzles or whatever. And one of them is a math puzzle where you get 6 numbers and they pick between small and big numbers. So you can have like 1 large and 5 small or 2 large, whatever. And the biggest of the big numbers is 100. Your big numbers are like 125, 75, or 50. And then your small numbers are 1 through 10. And then the number you have to reach is a 3-digit number. And so then you have to do like adding, subtracting, dividing, whatever, with the 6 numbers you have to get to this 3-digit number. And it's a lot of fun. And Dan is usually much better at it than I am because he's better at the maths and I'm better at the word puzzles.
Right.
Today,
Same.
yeah, today they did this puzzle. And the number you had to reach was 530. And Dan and I both came up with really convoluted ways to reach 530. We both got 530, but we had some of the most convoluted ways to get there. And then on the show, this guy, John, who's the best guy on the show, he goes, "Well, 50 plus 3 is 53 times 10 is 530." And I swear to God, we both got up and walked out of the living room. We were like, I have never felt so stupid in my entire life.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like I was like, okay, like so 50 times 10 is 500 and 10 and 100 divided by 25. Like I had this whole thing and he was just 53 times 10 and I was like, and that's where I get joy. So you can tell how well I'm doing.
Right.
So in case anybody was wondering how mentally stable I am, the only way I feel joy is by being told I'm stupid by a bunch of British comedians.
Look, I mean, that is a good time though. I'll say that's a good time.
Yeah.
Nick watches a lot of Taskmaster, so I've watched a lot of it.
Oh my God, it's our favorite. It's like our favorite show in the world. Where there's no more to watch. We've watched all of it. We don't have
Nick's
anything
watched
left to
all of
watch.
it too.
So but yeah, so we are watching Countdown right now, and Dan has found another weird superhero show that I don't understand.
Which one?
Well, he finished all of Doom Patrol, and now he's watching this animated show called Invincible.
I don't know that one.
I don't, and I was watching it, and I go, I really don't think I understand what's going on. He goes, well, you just watched like a weird, like 5-minute segment of the end of an episode. And he goes, but when the next episode starts, just watch the like previously on and see if you can like pick up the pieces. So I watched the whole previously on, and he goes, do you understand what's happening now? I go, fucking no. Not a bit of this makes sense. It's like weird, like level, like it's like Doom Patrol or like Peacemaker or like like that level of like our like Suicide Squad, like that level of weird irreverent, but then it's animated and it's very strange. And I sometimes do not understand him. So then he leaves and I just put on Masked Singer because it makes me feel more alive. Until today when I was watching it and realized that the production value of the show must be the world's largest waste of money.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
No, I mean, I haven't watched the season, obviously, but like
watching it where we're at in the economy right now, I'm genuinely offended for the amount of money that is spent on the production value of this show.
I was literally just thinking about that about something else that happened in the world lately, and I was like, no, everything is a disaster.
No, they have like a different full set for each performer for one song, and then they never use it again. And I just can't. I cannot understand. It is, yeah, I'm offended. So even my comfort shows are offensive now. I'm being told I'm stupid by comedians, and Masked Singer hurts my feelings about the economy. So I'm gonna need some words of advice to get me through this life.
Yeah, I forgot I had to do that, but I do have one. I just don't have it pulled up yet.
Yeah.
Okay. The amateur believes he must first overcome his fear, then he can do his work. The professional knows that fear can never be overcome. He knows there is no such thing as a fearless warrior or a dread-free artist. Stephen Pressfield.
I love that. I love that. We're gonna talk about Stargate SG-1 Season 7, Episode 14, Fallout. It was rated 7.5 stars.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that I agree with, but that's
You liked it more or less.
I think 7.5 stars is a fine rating for it. I don't understand why it was rated so much higher than last week's.
Oh, that's fine. That's fair.
Yeah. Like, it's not that I think 7.5 is inappropriate. I just, comparing the episodes that it's been up against, like the last couple, I don't know that I understand the rating in the greater picture.
Right. That's totally fair.
It came out on January 23rd, 2004. Same song, same book. But the top movie is The Butterfly Effect.
That movie is so good. I need to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it as an adult.
So you tell me this every time this movie comes up in conversation. And I know a couple other people who liked it, who watched it, who really, really liked it. I have never seen it. However, I have heard quite a few podcasts that talk about like supernatural and time travel and stuff, talking about how it is one of the most completely wrong takes on what the butterfly effect would actually look like, and how in the terms of sci-fi it is a fucking farce. And that makes me not want to watch it because
I mean it's Ashton Kutcher, so like it's not,
but it's because I know that I would go into it and critique everything that was wrong about it in terms of time travel. Like so my problem is because I know that is the complaint people have. I don't think I can watch it because I would find everything wrong with it.
That's totally fair. I'll rewatch it one day in the real world, not in childhood.
And then tell me if it is actually something.
Because I didn't know anything about Butterfly Effect when I watched it.
Right. You probably watched it at like 12, and being like, ooh, Ashton Kutcher, and being like, oh, this is so weird. And then like moving on and not having any concept of sci-fi or time travel. Right. On this day, I have a lot of space news.
I like space.
On this day, the European Space Agency's Mars Express directly detected water ice on Mars. However, I then went into a really big deep dive and was like looking for all of the pivotal points in the discovery of water on Mars, and this is not listed. And I don't know if it's because it was the European Space Agency and we're like assholes who don't want to listen to them.
I mean, that tracks.
Right. or if it was because they detected it, but then like later it was actually like probed into or whatever. And so they count
Yeah.
that date, not this
My
date.
guess is that we were like, America didn't do that, therefore,
Right.
because that does seem to be a trend in space
Right.
exploration.
Yeah. Well, and because also on the same day, the Spirit rover, which was the first generation of unmanned rovers that we put on Mars, um, NASA received its first ever transmission of a deep space communication from the rover on Mars. So I think we were like, fuck your thing, we got deep space communication. And to be honest, the reason I put both of these in there is because A, space is cool, but B, I think it's so fascinating to see the timeline of when these things were happening in the real world
Yeah.
versus the fact that like deep space communication and like walkie-talkie radios into like light years away has been happening on the show for 5 seasons. And
Right.
like now it's finally like even potentially a possibility in the real world. And it's interesting to see what the effect that will have on where the science goes in the episode, like in the show.
Yeah.
My last piece of evidence. Sorry, I've been teaching essays writing for too long. Because they're doing their English test, state test tomorrow. The last piece of last fact, whatever the fuck I'm talking about that I have for what happened on this day, a Thai man died. Um, and the thing just said Thai man dies, suspected bird flu. And I was like, that's a really weird headline. So then I researched the bird flu epidemic of the early 2000s and realized that this was before.
This
Like
was
this
an
was
H1N1. Yeah.
no, but this was yeah, this no 2003
Mhm.
is when the big bird flu stuff
Right.
happened. This thing happening
Mm.
in January was before all of the stuff happened in China shutting down and people like hospitalizing and it spreading to other countries and the whole thing that like was the 2 or 3 years of like massive bird flu fear. This was like the beginning of that. And it was really triggering for me. Um, because of the way that the international news handled the spread of COVID outside of
Uh-huh.
China and how Thailand was just like, oh wait, no, people are dying here too. Oops. Like,
Yeah.
but then we still didn't close our borders until it became an international problem 2 months
Right.
after the first case of COVID in China or in Thailand. Great.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Cool. Fantastic. So that, I went from really cool space news to like quarantine
What is going wrong with
PTSD,
the world?
like
Yeah.
quarantine PTSD. It's great.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, this episode was directed by Martin Wood, edited by Eric Hill, with a teleplay by Joseph Malozzi and Paul Mully, and a story by Corin Nemec.
Well, sure.
Um,
I want you to know I've now jaded on Courtney Mick, and
I know. I shouldn't have told you all of the terrible things people say
until like
about
we're
him.
totally done with SG-1 because now all this episode I can think about was, and especially when you said he wrote it, I was like, of course he wrote it. He's like a narcissist who had to write himself into an episode. Like, and that's not necessarily how it
That's not how it went down at all.
was because it was well written
It
too.
was really well written.
But
And it was a really good idea. And it was kind of
it was a
like,
good idea.
hey, remember that thing that we did with an atomic bomb and how that's probably not a good thing? Like,
Right, right.
and if we close off, we had all the stuff about Nequadria being so important for our hyperspace stuff. And then if we
Mhm.
shut down any contact with Langara slash Kelowna and then write Nequadria out of the story, it doesn't make sense unless we have a
Right.
reason to write it out of the story. So, like, it was well written, it was
Mhm.
well acted, it was an
Mhm.
intelligent piece to the
Mhm.
lore of Stargate. And
Yeah.
I really don't think that the bad blood with as awful as it sounds, I really don't think the bad blood with Kornemic got as out of hand as it did until a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because it feels like something that would have come up when Obama was running for president.
Well, I think Scientology
Well,
nonsense.
Scientology is always nonsense, but I feel like a lot of people don't like him because of like outspoken political things, and that feels like it
Oh,
didn't, you know what I mean? Like, because
yeah.
as he got deeper into Scientology, he got weirder, but a lot of the stuff that he said publicly that upset people was political in nature, and that feels like a world we didn't live in until Obama.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, we still
not
definitely had it with like,
no.
especially like with Bush. I mean, once we started having like
Yeah, but I
the
feel like post 9/11 there was like a lull of people all kind of
Mhm.
just kind of like like there was the obviously
That's fair, yeah.
people like felt one way or the other about the war itself, but there was kind of like a lull of like divisive language because we were all like America doesn't deserve this.
Yeah.
And then it was like I'm going to run for president as a black man and it was like okay, what I said about America and it like just went crazy and so
Yeah.
like and then it hasn't stopped in 20 years. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's really a really fun time that we live in. Um,
We love it here.
we're doing so well. But yeah, and the guest was Emily Holmes, who played Kiana, and she is known for Paycheck, Snakes on a Plane, and The Wicker Man.
Oh,
And
do you know who she played in The Wicker Man?
um a random unnamed lady. Like
Oh.
it was like worrying mom or something like that. Like like
Oh, that's a bummer. The
yeah.
original one, like the one from the
No,
70s,
no,
the Nicolas Cage one.
the Nicolas Cage one. She
Oh,
played
I
like
don't care anymore.
yeah, she played like
Okay.
stressed out mom in the Nicolas Cage version of Wicker Man. So like no.
No, no one cares. No
Correct.
one cares. Yeah, yeah.
Um yeah, and yeah, it's a mess. That's also literally everything I have about her. Just there nothing. There's nothing else on
Yeah.
to um we start the episode at the SGC and Jonas is coming to visit them. But he's actually like, nope, I'm here. Not really great news. We've got a major problem
Mhm.
on the planet. Um, and we learn that Nequadria is actually not a separate mineral, but a chain chemical reaction compound that the Goa'uld started 3,000 years ago, converting raw naquita, and it's still going on, which is a problem. Because there's like active chemical reactions happening under the surface of the planet um, with an unstable isotope. Which I'm
Yeah.
not like I said, I'm not a big science person, but that even I know that
Even
not a
you know
good.
that's not good. Yeah,
Not
yeah,
good.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and as the veins get deeper toward the planet's core and the planet heats up, the unstable Nequadria is going to cause the entire planet to explode.
Yeah.
And then we get the
Mhm.
credits.
Yeah. So we're doing well,
Doing so
and
well.
everyone is on really good terms with everyone else.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
We haven't even gotten to the worst of it though, like with
I
the
know.
term of being on good terms with
I
people.
know.
So Jonas and Sam discuss the possibility that Nequadria is in fact not a naturally occurring element at all, and that it only exists because of this thing. And they're talking about it when a woman enters and immediately gets awkward, but not nearly as awkward as Jonas. Um, so that's a fun introduction to this character. Um, Sam says they need to determine how the process works if they're going to stop it. And I wrote, and since the crystal's missing information, it's science time. Um,
Science time. It's science time.
which only quickly I forgot to tell you that I met Chris and Marty Krat, and it was
Oh yeah.
they're
I'm so
wonderful. It
jealous.
was so great. At one point I was trying to open a door for them and the key would not work and Martin was like pressure, pressure, pressure. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. Just watching your childhood idols not watch you not know how to open a door. And they were like, "Oh my God." They were like, "Oh my God, no, it's fine." They were so sweet. Oh, I really, really liked them. And they
That's
were
funny.
really good with the kids. Like it was great.
Oh,
But
I
yes,
met them
so
very briefly as a child. So
yeah,
at the
but
zoo.
love that. But
I
so
know.
It's science time. Then the counselors from the new ruling group of all three countries on the planet come to the SGC. Um, and the other ministers clearly do not. None of the ministers trust each other.
No, obviously.
Apparently, the only person who everybody trusts is Jonas, and he is not available to talk to them. So, like,
Which feels wild.
wild that they all
Like
trust
he's
him.
a wild choice because he also has like turned against people.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's not my first choice. I mean, and not even because of the Scientology stuff, just like logically, he's not my first choice.
I mean, he is definitely Cologne, but also he like did save the whole planet on multiple occasions and like
But
show
he
that
also
his
turned against different people for a while. Like,
yeah, but I think that like he eventually showed that his loyalty is to the planet as a whole, not to his
which is
own
fair,
people, which I kind
which
of
is
get.
good.
Yeah, which I kind of get
Yeah.
why the other two ministers are like, he's the only one of you who doesn't lie to us.
Right, right, right. That's true.
Except for then we find out he definitely lied to them. So like that's cool.
Sure. Yeah. So
But yeah, but Dreback or whatever, the minister from Kelowna, I saw him.
Dryak.
Yeah, something like whatever. She was like, maybe our friends from Earth could knock some sense into you, basically. Like, um, because apparently she has tried explaining the situation to them and they don't seem to give a shit. So SGC offers as much relocation as possible, but there are limitations. Like you can't take like an entire planet worth of people in an industrialized like society and drop them on another planet without any infrastructure. It's like not gonna work.
Right.
And I wrote, turns out the Tweedles from the other countries think this will only affect Kelowna. And Daniel's like, your whole planet's gonna be uninhabitable, bro. Like this is not a Kelownan problem. This is a you're all fucked problem.
Right, right, right.
And they were like, wow, this is news to me.
You know who else is news to? The world we live on. If you start destroying the planet, the whole planet dies, not just the portion of it. I'm really mad. I'm really mad at the people destroying the world.
It's science time.
Yeah.
Yay. Um, so Kiana and Jonas are really stuck trying to determine the cause of the Nequadria transformation and like what is happening. When Sam is like, the reason you're having such a hard time with this is because your timeline is wrong. And they're like, no, like the gold, we're here 3,000 years ago. And she's like, yeah, this for sure did not happen 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been happening for a lot less time than we thought. And then there's an earthquake and everything starts shaking. Yay. Um, Sam calls the SGC and says that the earthquake was due to the Nequadria, but all the fires are out. But unfortunately, when it actually gets to the big bad, it's going to be 100 times worse than that, and it is not going to go well. So back at the SGC, they're discussing the relocation plans, and the counselors are fighting about everything. Basically, every time we see them, this entire episode, they're fighting. But now they want their entire own planets. Like each country should get its own planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonas and Sam report to the Kelowna minister that the process actually didn't begin thousands of years ago. The trigger was the Nequadria bomb test 2 years ago. Because atomic bombs have no effect on the planet whatsoever, and they leave nothing in their wake. This, of course, causes more fighting. Their bomb basically replicated the conditions that created the Nequadria in the first place. And this, of course, causes more fighting with the counselors. And this next note has absolutely nothing to do with the episode for real, except for that it scared the shit out of me when Jack yelled for crying out loud. Because if you remember, one of my text tones on my phone was Jack yelling for crying out loud, and
I forgot about that.
And I determined based on how it happened and the tone of voice and the background sound that this episode was where they ripped that from. So when he did that, and I was looking down to take a note, it scared the shit out of me because I thought it was my phone, and it was not.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so this is the episode that my text tone came from. Um, but everyone is very on edge and they end the meeting and they storm off. And Jack and Teal'c are like, we're fucking done. We don't have the patience for stupidity. Daniel, we're leaving the diplomacy to you. Which is 100% fair. Sorry, it's 11:15,
I
so
know.
I'm a yawny person. That's not a
And I'm
word.
not a psychopath, so I also don't.
Yeah. Um, Sam thinks that despite having no way to reverse the conversion process with the Nequadria, there might be a way to stop the spread. Because if they cause another mini earthquake to change the fault lines, it might stop the digging of the vein where the Nequadria is. But she's going to need a really big drill.
Mhm.
Don't worry, conveniently, Jonas has one.
This was the dumbest. This, I was like, I take away 3 stars for this. Like, this is such a stupid, convenient. Why on earth would you have this giant drill? I
Yeah.
may have said something out loud. There were people. I think I said something out loud. I was just like, I can't.
Um, so they have this giant drill, and they're trying to figure out how to make it move faster down through the to the core of the planet so that they can do this thing with the fault lines. And they realize that the best way to make the drill move faster is to outfit the drill with Togra tunnel crystals to like create holes to dig into, which is like pretty honestly, you can give back zero point 0.5 of the stars for the convenient drill just for like the really creative use of the Togra tunnel crystals.
Sure, sure.
Which, I mean,
However,
to be fair, that is 2.5 stars off, which puts us at 7.5. So I guess that's where we got the
yeah,
ranking for the episode.
right from this
Just
convenient
this
plot.
moment, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
this is the one.
Kiana is like uncomfortably concerned about how much Jonas is sharing with Sam. Because everyone has an agenda and she like really does not seem to trust Sam. And Jack's like, and Jonas is very confused by why anyone would distrust Sam, which is fair
He's like, I
because
trust her with my life.
which is fair because of everyone in the show ever, Sam has the least amount of agenda.
That is true. She's
Like,
always there for science.
yeah,
Science is her agenda.
yeah, her only agenda is science, like
Right,
ever. Um,
right.
but he tells her to relax and kisses her. Which, I mean, good for Jonas. Good for him.
I guess, but you're not supposed to be dating on your team. That's what we learned from Jack and Sam
Just last episode. Um,
just last episode.
so of course the drill is another fight for the council because you know not everybody knew about this drill, so the end of the world. Um, so then we have a little scene. Sam's like super impressed with the excavator and the drill, and she's giving and Jonas is like, honestly, it was all Kiana. Like I gave some ideas on how to can like fix things based on like things that I learned on Earth, but like she's great. And he was like, she's just really interesting and I really like her. And Sam's like, yeah, I bet you do.
I know. Mhm.
Um, and then because you know things can't be good, we flip to a scene of Kiana in the lab giving herself a secret injection. Which, if we didn't already think she was a little sketchy with how afraid of Sam she was,
Yeah, she was just a little too like sussed out by everyone. And I was like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, but then it's like he kisses her then, so then there's the thing of like, oh, is she jealous? And like, I get what they were trying to do, but
didn't feel it though.
I
It
didn't
didn't
feel
feel
it.
that way though.
It didn't feel right. No, it definitely felt like there's
Yeah.
something happening here, and it's not good.
Hmm.
Um, Teal comes back from the Tok'ra with the crystals, and they talk a little bit more about the plan. Sam confronts Jonas because she's working on some stuff, and she's like, "Hey, listen, how did you design the power generators for this shit?" And he's like, I did it. And she's like, you gave ideas though. And he was like, well, yeah, like gave some suggestions. And he was like, but I didn't design any of it. And she goes, okay, so the ship's generators are running at 130% capacity, which is far too efficient. So I did some digging and they're definitely a cool design.
And he is like so shocked and like can't fathom how
And
this could have happened.
but like also heartbroken. Like you see his
Right.
entire life shatter when she says that.
I know.
And so Jonas and Sam confront Kiana, and we find out that she is in fact a Goa'uld. She's working for Baal, and Baal was determined to find out why Anubis was so interested in Langara, and so he sent her. And she's like, no, but like I am on your side. I do want to save this planet, and I am, and you guys can't do it without me. So like we might as well work together. And Jonas is too heartbroken to deal with it.
Yeah, but she's also not wrong, which Sam goes with,
Sam's
but like,
understands, and obviously her motivations for saving the planet, like Jonas is right. Her motivation for saving the planet is so that she can have a planet, like and
right.
like rebel against Baal and be her own full system lord. Like she had Goa'uld ambition, but at the same time, she wants to save the planet from the Nequadria, and she's the one who designed and knows how to operate the ship. You've made deals with Gould before. Like
Right.
you've made treaties with people. Like you were friends for a hot second there. Like
Right.
it'll be okay. So they do try to run it without her, and turns out they can't. So they she was right, and they need her. Um,
Hmm.
and they're still trying to figure out because like she did work on their science team and help them build the ship, and it's like giving them like stuff. So it's like there's some weird, like maybe she has ulterior motives, but also like she spent a long time just like helping them.
Yeah, like she does have ulterior motives, and in the end, she still like does. I mean, she wants to do her own thing, but also like it's not necessarily at this moment to anyone's detriment. Like
Right.
it's only really helping them at right
Right.
now.
But and it's also like she could just like take over the whole planet right now, say that the Nequadrian is hers, like bring people over, like do whatever she wanted, and she doesn't.
Right.
She like helps them design digger
She builds like an
tools.
alliance with them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So like it
So,
so there's something, it's obviously there's more to her than meets the eye. So
right.
we find out that Ball is waiting for a check-in from Kiana, and he may come for her if she doesn't check in. So like there's now a time crunch on this
Yeah.
thing. However,
There's our ticking time bomb.
however, there's not. Not really, because by the end of the thing, they still never address getting back in touch with Ball or whether he's going to come for the planet or
Mhm.
not. And so I personally think this detail stupid. I don't often find a like I don't often pick too hard on plot holes because
Yeah.
like but there's some things that it's like no, but like if he was actually going to come for Langara because she didn't answer him, and then you just ended the episode on a happy note without her ever answering him, like we have
We
fucked
know
up.
that's not Ball.
Right. Like we
Like we
introduced
know him well enough to know that.
right. We introduced a detail that has now ruined the entire plot of the episode. That
Mhm.
was such a minor momentary scene that it didn't have to be there. Like
Yeah.
sometimes they have to say something for the plot to work, and then in hindsight, it probably opened a plot hole. This one just didn't need to be there.
Right. Because like at the same time, she was like, yeah, Ball sent me to look at all this. She was like, but I haven't reported back to him. And then you didn't have to. You didn't have a timeline. You didn't have to give yourself a time limit. You could have just
Nope.
been like, I've been here for ages already,
Well,
obviously.
and she does check in with him. She just hasn't told him the
Yeah.
truth. So okay,
Right.
great, great.
So
But
that's solved. Done.
this one thing where they're like, oh,
Mhm.
like we're waiting for Ball and they can't get a hold of the people on the excavator and blah blah blah. You
Yeah.
just introduced a plot snag that you then never came back to
Right. Yeah.
with a character that you're probably going to come back to. So like it's stupid.
Yeah. It
Um,
was dumb.
so Kiana fixes something on the ship and she tells Jonas that so they're doing their thing, they're going through, they're all moving down. Kiana's running the one part. They all have their positions on the ship. Teal'c's now with them because they don't trust themselves alone with the gold. Kiana
Sure.
has to go up to the engine room to fix something on the ship, and Jonas goes with her, and she's like, "You still don't trust me?" He's like, "No, I don't." And she's like, "I still care about you." And Jonas is like tweaking a little bit. He's like, "I didn't know what you were, or who you were," and she says something that Dan goes, "She's got a really fair point, though."
She does. I was on her side. Like
Yeah, she was
she
like,
built
she
this
said,
relationship.
she's like, "You never met the host until
Right.
I was there. So the whole time you've known Kiana, it's been me. So do you like her or do you like me?"
Right. And
Which,
like,
which I'll be honest, this Gould felt very Tok'ra to me. Like
yes.
it felt very much like a, this is where the line gets blurry. This is why we don't know if we really trust all the Tok'ra or what that means, or like why, how are they different? Like this is the where the lines get blurred.
Because we're
Because
seeing the gray area between like just the Goa'uld who are out for the Goa'uld, they're following the system lawyers, they're doing what they're told, they're taking over the world. And then you have the Tok'ra who are trying to protect the world, who are trying to be at one with their
and
host.
they
And you
have
have the
like
gray where she wants to take over her own little space and she wants to still be in control and she has this ambition, but she doesn't have that same like evil underlying
ruthlessness, yeah.
tendency. Yeah, yeah.
And it's like we know that the Tok'ra Queen was a whole kind of different species and they bred differently, so they didn't have
Hmm.
the XYZ, like the whole
Right.
anger and whatever. Right. And we know that the Jaffa are kind of able to think for themselves in a way because the Goa'uld symbiote isn't in their brainstem, it's just in their body.
Right.
But then they introduce characters like this where it's like, okay, but like, and characters like you, where it's like, what, where is the line? Like, where is the actual line? And the line gets blurrier every time we meet a new
Hmm.
character, which is a
Hmm.
really interesting way to play this species.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think it's good. I think it's good for development. And I think that they've done a good job so far of not rushing it or making it
yeah,
unrealistic either, like based on what they've already built. Like their
yeah,
story building is going very well for the like
and
hours.
they're
Sometimes they have
and
crazy
they're
storylines and the one-offs, but like
right,
for the
but
overarching.
they're also not overplaying the
Yeah.
gray Goa'uld, because if there was like a, oh, we every 8 episodes we find somebody who's gonna jump ship and join our side, like it wouldn't,
Yeah.
the threat wouldn't still exist.
Right, right.
Um, but so they're still heading down, but then this hull starts to get super overheated. Everybody's freaking out. The ship's gonna explode because um Jonas forgot to mention that there was a volcano nearby. And Sam's like, just because it's dormant at the top does not mean that there is not the possibility of underground magma, like science, bro.
That's
And
how
they're,
volcanoes work. They could always erupt.
yeah, yeah.
It's
So they're
about
going,
time for one.
oh, Jesus Christ. They're going through a magma river. Um, Daniel on Earth is stressing because these counselors just like will not listen. And Jack's like, I got you. I'll solve your problem. I'm sure that's going to turn out well.
Jack, bless
Um,
his heart.
on the ship, Sam is like, let's divert the power to the shield so we make it through this river. And Kiana's like, is it even like worth it? Like, these aren't even your people. Like, do you really, why don't we just turn around? Like, you're going to save a planet that like you have no ties to. And Sam's like, yeah, I am. And she's like, oh, okay. But luckily it works and they make it through the river. Um, and then we get my absolute favorite scene where Jack comes back to the counselors and he's like, hey, by the way, deal's off the table. None of you get to be relocated. You're all just gonna
Yeah.
die. And then he goes, you dicked around too long. And I was like,
Yeah. I was like, this is the way, Jack. This is the way. Oh God, yes. I was thrilled with that.
um, back on Langara, the forward drill was damaged in the magma and they can't move forward and they're stuck about 1 kilometer away from the drop site. If they drop the bomb now, it won't do anything to the fault lines. It'll be a complete like dud basically. Um, and the only way that they have enough of the Tok'ra tunnel crystals for it to be worth it is if they, instead of making the tunnel big enough for the whole ship, is if they make it narrow enough that only one person can fit down. Kiana says that she will go because the symbiote will protect her. This was a very big point of contention on the, I did not write it on the trivia page, but on the Goofs page on the trivia, this was a very big point of contention because technically the one speaking at that time is the Goa'uld. So for her to
Right.
say the symbiote will protect me doesn't make sense. And people were very upset about that, but whatever.
Sure.
And
Sure.
basically, the idea that she's the only one of the four of them with a symbiote that can protect her.
Right.
Um, but even for her, it's rough. Like we're watching her like make it down this tunnel, and it is not looking good.
Mhm.
I mean, you have to remember, but you think about it, they're 20 kilometers through solid rock toward the core of the planet underneath the magma river. I can't imagine that I would really want to be there either.
Mm-mm. For sure not. For sure
Uh,
not.
The ship is down to 70% power because of the damage from the river. And so Kiana tells them to just go now, and because they're not going to make it any other way. Like if the power keeps going down, they're not even going to be able to start the engines to go back up. And Jonas and Sam absolutely refuse to leave her down there. And
Which is correct.
it is the correct thing to do, 100%. The
Mhm.
council is now worried because they should have been back by now, and everybody is freaking out. The power has gotten all the way down to 53%, and they're about to leave because if they let it drop anymore, they literally won't be able to turn the engines back on. They don't know what to do. When Kiana gets there back there just in time. And Kiana asks Jonas if he only waited for her because of the bargain. And he just doesn't answer. And she's like, I already know. And it's so sweet because he really does like her a lot. And he like does not know what
I
to do with
know.
himself because he's like,
Yeah, but he's not like super true human anyway. So like
yeah.
it's not
But
out of left
it's
field.
not about like interspecies so much as what the Goa'uld as a species stand for and what they've done to
Sure,
him. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But you can't hold one person accountable for what everyone does. And so far she hasn't done anything to
That's
him.
true, but the fact that they do share a hive mind does kind of take away
Sure.
the lack of personal autonomy
But
there.
didn't they say they removed the symbiote? Did it?
Yeah, we're not there yet. This is when
Oh,
she first gets back on the ship.
sorry.
Yeah, this is when
Okay,
she
just
first, yeah.
JK, that didn't
Yeah, yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah. This is when she first gets back on the ship and she's like
Gotcha.
still like dying, but they're still in the excavator.
Gotcha.
Um, so on Earth, we find out that the planned earthquake was successful. The drool, everything's going to be great. The planet's not going to die. The counselors can stop bitching. And then the excavator does in fact make it out just in the nick of time. They about 5 seconds before they
Mhm.
die.
Of
It's
course,
all
as
great.
it does.
And of course, that's how it works. And then we have a really sweet moment where Jonas is just kind of standing in the gate room looking at the gate. And
Mm.
Daniel's like, Do you miss it? He's like, Yeah, I really, really do. Um, but then Kiana comes out of the infirmary and we find out that she survived only because the symbiote sacrificed itself for her because they could not both survive. And
Right.
she says that the symbiote was genuinely really grateful for everything that they did, and the idea that Sam and Jonas and Teal'c like sacrifice would have been willing to die themselves to save her, despite the fact that she was a Goa'uld, was like pretty
Yeah.
life shattering for her. And so Jonas and Kiana uh, head back to Kelowna together. And it's
Yeah.
very sweet.
I liked it.
And then I upset Dan.
What did you do?
Well, I don't really want to tell you because what I said to him was a spoiler.
Oh, don't tell me then.
Yeah.
Come back. Come back when it happens and tell
Well,
me.
no, I mean it's a spoiler about the whole show from now on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Then
mean,
once we finished all of the
no, I
seasons.
mean it's fine. It's fine. I no, it's that was the final
That was the
farewell.
last Jonah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No,
Which
I figured
I was
that.
like, you can kind of tell by the way they do it that
Yeah.
it is a final farewell. But I literally, as the credits are rolling, I go, and we never see Jonas again. And he goes, what? I go,
Bless his heart. Yeah, no, I figured this was probably our last Jonas episode.
Yeah.
We sent him off into the sunset with the love of his life. And
Right.
I know that Christopher Judge was fussed about him or whatever for
Yeah,
season 7
nobody they
already.
they really did not get along with each other very well, and it was a
Yeah.
really good way to end the character's arc and like
Yeah.
get redemption for what he did in the first place and like give him his happy ending. And they just
Mhm.
it ended very well.
Yeah.
That's not to say that like we'll never mention him or the
Sure.
Colonins or like the Nequadria. Like it's not like he no longer exists in the story, but Coronemic won't come back again after
Right,
this.
right, right, right.
Which
Which is fine.
yeah. I only have one piece of trivia, and it is hysterical. And it is
Okay, I'm ready.
Emily Holmes and Corin Nemec showed up for the table reading of this episode with the same haircut, completely coincidentally. That was not planned. And everyone was so nervous because they were like, it's gonna look like they're cousins and then they're kissing and it's gonna ruin the whole episode. Joseph Pelosi still thinks that the episode did not go as well as it could have been because it looks like they're too closely related.
They did look very closely related. I
Yeah,
did notice
and
that.
it was completely on accident. It was a complete
That's so
coincidence that they
funny.
both had the same awkward early 2000s bowl cut.
That's so funny. I did notice they looked similar, but I know that
Yep.
it was like not a
Yeah,
planned
it was not
look.
planned. It was not a planned look. They just both had the same hair.
God bless. God, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So, any thoughts or feelings?
I mean, I agree this was a good send off for Jonas. I think it was well done. I think it was it was justified by the character, and I think it was
Yeah.
all well and good. Um, no, are we like so we're not getting the Naquita from Kelowna now? What it could
Well,
you
so
can you
okay,
re-explain that
so
part
yeah,
to
so
me?
the science part of it. So
Mhm.
basically, Nequadria is not a naturally occurring
Right.
material. It is a unstable chemical reaction within Naquita.
Mhm.
So basically, what we've determined is that Nequadria can never be stabilized. Like it's not like it's a natural,
Right.
a naturally occurring unstable isotope that they can then stabilize. It
Stabilize.
is all so. What we've basically learned is that we no longer need Nequadria because if we need something as high powered as Nequadria, we have the ability to use the subatomic particles to create it ourselves based on the science that Sam discovered. But because we know that it is not its own individual, unique chemical compound,
Mhm.
there's no reason to mine for it. And there's no reason to continue searching for this unstable element.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Um,
I too am words and not science. So
yeah, we're both really, really good at that. I just have watched the show more than once.
right.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
right. That's where we're at. Um, I got my little sneak peek thing for next episode is that we will once again have some interesting past people in the next episode.
It's the Knox. Do we ever see the Knox again?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think I've
Yeah.
asked that before.
Yeah.
Um, the Asgards. We see the Asgards finally again. It's been ages. I
It
guess
has
that's
been
my guess
ages.
because
Okay.
I can't think of anybody else that we haven't seen in a while that we are gonna see again.
Okay. All right. I'm obviously not gonna say shit,
Sure,
but
sure, 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 sure.
um, what is this? I think is this. Oh yeah. Okay. No, sorry. There's an interesting character who comes back in this episode, and then there's a new recurring character that starts in this episode.
Oh,
So
how fun!
yes, yes. So
Fun time to be
it
alive.
is a fun time. The next I actually like the next I just was looking at what the next couple episodes coming up are, and I was like, oh boy. April's a big month for us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So, who do you want to punch?
I would like to punch the lady on the board. I think she's in the first one when they're sitting. The one that always argues with the guy.
The one in the white jacket who's from the other planet that
Yes.
was persecuted.
Yeah.
She's a bitch.
Her. I would like to punch her.
That's fair. I would like to punch the guy who is on the other part of the council, because I really do think that like Minister Drayak would, as annoying as she is, and as much as she like also has only her own country's well-being in mind, she seems like she would like get over it if the other two just could shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, who is your MVP?
I know I just picked Sam last week, but I
Okay.
feel like it's Sam because she's so logical. And like,
Yeah.
even though like Kiana did a lot and like Jonas really helped like bring everyone together and whatnot, but like
Yeah.
really there were so many stops in the path that if it had not been for Sam going, no, we have to do it this way for it to come out, it wouldn't have like Jonas would have gotten his feels too much.
Yeah.
Kiana would have just like gone
Agreed.
off. Like, and so I think Sam like is the only reason the glue kept going.
And that's totally fair. And like, as much as that would be like nice to not to give it to one of our characters who's really only in this episode, like, and do something nice with that. And like, yes, I do appreciate the sacrifice Kiana's symbiote made by the end and like the growth that she had that episode. The only person who really had a fucking backbone this entire episode was Jack. And so he is my MVP because he just needed everybody to shut the fuck up.
Truly. Bless him. Yep.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. So that's all we got for you today. It's been a very long day for me and Courtney. This is this episode a happy Easter, by the way. I totally forgot that this episode comes out on Easter.
Is this Easter?
This is Easter.
Yes. When is Easter? Not this weekend, next weekend for us? In real time?
In real time it is, yes. For this episode 420. Yeah. Happy 420, happy Easter. If you celebrate both, have a great day.
If you don't celebrate either, just take a nap.
Yeah. Yeah. So we will see you on Thursday.
Nope. You can find us.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were signing away.
No, I was gonna say
leaving the podcast.
I was gonna say that Thursday we're wrapping up the series of Hannibal. So you don't have to watch anything before you watch us.
Just
There's not an episode to go along with it. But we, if you want to talk to us, if you want to say Happy Easter or give us your feelings on Jonas Quinn and Scientology, please.
I'm mad at Scientology.
I would love to get into that debate. The world is falling apart as it is. Please let a Scientologist fight with me.
Yeah. The dream.
You can
We're gonna be like shut down. You'll never see us again. Don't worry.
You can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com unless Google is run by a Scientologist and then you can't. You can find us on all the social media at Death and Aliens. You can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
Bye.
See ya.